So in this presentation, I will talk to you a little about ChoiCo games, what is a ChoiCo game and what is the ChoiCo game rationale. And then I will describe you how to play, educate yourselves by playing this kind of games, and then creating your own games in order to experience the phases of the design thinking process. So what is ChoiCo? ChoiCo stands for Choices with Consequences. It is an online authoring tool for creating choice-driven simulation games. It resembles a bit with kinds of games like Sims. In this game, the player, the main thing he does is that he makes decisions. And these decisions have certain consequences in some fields of the game. So in the ChoiCo games, the player aims to make as many choices as possible. Without the game fields, these parameters that are affected by his choices, cross specific red lines. The main features of a ChoiCo game are three. It's the scene. Here we represent the outline and the storyline of the game. For example, here the player is a citizen in a city and he can choose among different kinds of activities and places to go. So we represent, for example, a city which has pinned on some places and choices he can make. In this context of the game, the points are activities and places he can go. In other contexts, it might be raw materials, for example, or production processes that have negative or positive of the game. The second feature, very important feature of the game, is the point information table. Here, by clicking on each choice, you can find the kind of consequence that has in every field. And then we have the field, the game fields above, which are the parameters that are affected by someone's choice. For example, here, if I go to the restaurant, in this game, we represent the consequences with arithmetic values. So if I go to the restaurant, I have a lot of fun. So this the value of fun is very positive, but I will waste money. So the value in the field of money is very negative. This is the main rationale. So in this context, these games don't have single and clear solutions. So they refer to socio-scientific issues in which the player makes choices that are never excellent. They win something with every choice, and they lose something, too. Yes. So they have to decide wisely. They have to think about these consequences and balance them. And every choice they make matters, and the combination of the choices also matter. You will see how this works when I show you the example. So why we have added the element of the design mode also. As I said before, ChoiCo platform offers the opportunity to play a ChoiCo game, but also to change it, to modify the values of the game, the points of the game, the fields of the game, or create a new game from scratch. We use this design mode in order to motivate the players to create prototypes for simulating real-world situations that they might face in the real world while they design something, a product or a service. These kind of situations are situations that have to do with different kinds of parameters when you try to win something. And some examples of issues that are related to this kind of problems are, for example, the use of social media or the consumption habits or the climate change choices that affect the environment, for example. These are some examples. So why to use ChoiCo why to create a game for your project? So you can make a ChoiCo game to empathize and a new problem, to simulate a situation, trying to simulate a problem, and then see what is the most important that you can solve with the product or the service you offer. So you can discover user needs. These kinds of games are games that you will find in the planet. We have already developed such games. You can create ChoiCo games to simulate and explore different solutions. For example, the impacts of certain raw materials in the production of a certain product, industrial product. You can create a rapid model for your product or your service. For example, you can create a model on how the marketing actions will flow during for your business. And you can simulate also different uses of your product in order to test how it is going to be used and if finally it's worth to be productive. So I will show you here. You can enter the ChoiCo platform by just clicking the Google ChoiCo. The platform is this. And here you have two choices: to design or play a game from scratch. In the co-creation planet, cocreation.eu, you can here in the games archive find all the games that students have created in order to conceptualize during their design process. And here in the main page, you can find your course. I will use, I'm sorry, Melis, are you there? Functional textiles?
It's still working on it, so it will be ready soon, but it's not ready yet.
Okay, maybe I can use an example. I can hear you. Okay, let's use an example for now. So you will find your course. Let's use this. And for your course, your tutors have designed different kinds of combinations of tools in each continent. Each continent, as Mary said, is a phase of the design thinking process. For example, the Discover continent has tools that through which you can discover the needs of your users. In every phase, you will be able to conceptualize concerning some very important issues, for example, empathy in this phase. And every city, every concept has different kinds of tools that you can use to experience it. These red circles are games, ChoiCo games. And here's an example of a ChoiCo game. Here the player is a designer who tries to investigate what are the needs of the audience for a product. He tries to empathize as much as he can. So he has different options. Let's play. He has options like doing an online survey or doing an interview at school. Each point has consequences on the allocated time he will have to waste, the effort, his money, and the immersion he achieves. For example, if I choose on an online survey, I can see that my time will have a positive consequence, because I won't have to waste much time with transport, for example, but my immersion will be negative because online surveys cannot be very suitable for understanding the actual needs of someone. So if I select the point, if I have let's say I'll go an interview at school, if I select the point, I can see here the values changing. And the game warns me if I neglect something, a field of the game, that I have to keep in a value higher or lower. So here I have the warning message that I have to try to understand my user better. It means that my immersion is not good. So I try to make choices to increase it like that. The point here is to make as many choices as possible, and I'm going to try to lose now. Here I'm almost broke, so. And when I lose, I have three options. Of course, the game informs the player for his choices, for the result of his choices, and he can play again. He can see his score and the statistics. Here is where you can see the whole path that you have made in the game and how the choices affected the fields each time and why you lost. So this can be downloaded and be used as a reflection tool among your team, for example. And another thing I can do is edit the game. This was the first option in the orange window. I can edit the game. I can go inside the game and change it. Here there are some other options too. Your score and statistics can be found here. Here are some instructions for the game and the design mode of the game. And you can be transferred to the design mode of the game by clicking this icon. Here I am in the play mode, so I play the game. If I click on this icon, I am transferred to the design mode of the game. Here I can change the values of each choice. I can add choices and I can add some fields. I will show you how this is done by using an example. I will use as an example here the COVID you can find in this is a game that aims to no. I'm sorry, I have Greek here. Okay. This is an online demo that we have made in order to simulate the situation that we were during the pandemic. In this game, the player is a citizen that lives in a city during lockdown. So he has different choices to make, trying to balance the risk of getting COVID, his physical condition, his fun, his social life, and his money. So by clicking on its choice, for example, if he goes running, he will have a positive consequence in his physical health, but a negative consequence in the social life because it's a team sport. So he makes selections, trying to balance these fields. Now that I have lost, I can edit the game. This is the second way. There are two ways to go to the edit mode, by this icon and by this option in the end of the game. And the design mode of the game offers you the opportunity to make 4 big categories of changes in the game. Why to make changes in the game? Because you played the game and you saw that the situation is more complex, so you have to add in the situation more choices, or that there are many alternative solutions about the problem, and this game doesn't have them all, or because you understood the problem better and realized that there are more factors that are affected by its choice, for example. So the whole thing is about the reflection of the situation that you want to simulate. So the 4 categories of changes have to do with the interface, the initial settings, which is where the player starts, and the game and end rules. I will show you some examples here. The first choice you can have is to change the background by clicking this icon, or to add choices by clicking on this icon. For example, let's add a choice here. When I add a point here, I can see that the line has been added in the database, and this is the second feature of this tab. You can change everything in this database. Every line is a choice. So let's see that I can go for bicycle. Okay. And every column is the field that is affected by the choice. For example, if I go bike, here I can choose the type of relationship. I will say that my COVID risk will be random from -3 to 3, for example. And my physical condition will increase, and my fun, my social life not so much. I'm just using examples of values. And my money, I will have a positive consequence here, because since I will ride my bicycle, I won't stop buying something. Money is a special, has to do with some special rationale in the game. For example,
Het idee is dat je dat zoiets doet voor de use case, iets dat er van toepassing is om goed de keuzes die je moet nemen, dat is misschien goed, dat verbetert het comfort, maar terzelfde tijd wordt het duurder en dat je dus ook iets op die naart maakt. Oké, sorry, I was not muted.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Explain in Dutch a bit how this applies to their case.
Yes. I will explain this later. For them, I'm not sure they are going to have a project for exercise or deliverable.
Yes, it will normally be a heating textile.
Okay. So I will show you the games for heating textiles too.
Okay, I did not see the list, but so it would be great if it's there.
Yes, we have two games, the main game and the modification of the game. But I'm just going to show you first how you can interact with and change ChoiCos. So I will keep it short in order to talk to you about this later. Here you can add choices, and here you can add fields with this icon. For example, let's say that during the lockdown, my mental health is affected. And I can have some examples here. Okay, we change everything, and we can add and delete everything. The second kind of changes you can make is the gameplay rules. In this tab, you can define in the game everything that you want as a warning or as a condition where you change the layer of the game. You change, for example, because you are transferred somewhere else. So here, I have to show you this too. If I add a field in the game, I can go here and set the initial settings. Every tab of these three is this kind of programming environment. It is very easy to use. You don't have to know how to program. You can find every block you want here. You can explore a little bit the environment. It's very simple to use. This is how it is designed. The only thing that we can do, we have to do, is to add the field mental health that we added before. So I can just take this block, and with Ctrl-C and V, I create another one, which is the same. This way it works through all these tabs. And here I can the settings, for example, meaning the values, the initial value the player starts. He starts with mental health, for example, 20. The same logic here is with the programming environment. Here you can add conditional blocks where if a condition exists, for example, if my COVID risk is over 70, then the game will play the pop-up of the warning message. Every block here you can actually, with Control-C and V, duplicate, set the settings, and with this kind of blocks you can make combinations. For example, if COVID risk and if COVID risk is over 70 and physical condition under 30, for example, then you have a combination of conditions that pops up a window that says you have to be careful. Rules. Here you define the red lines of the game. For example, if my physical condition is below 5, then the game will end. I lost the game because my physique is really bad.